Hey Abby, how you doing? I got you queued up. Whoa. I got you queued up here. Let me see. Here's your cover. So we'll start with the cover, and then we'll move to the contents page in the interior spread. So I have these things all lined up here, and it looks like they're pretty well centered. So let's go ahead and start with the cover. I think the cover is looking really good, and I really think you're getting that kind of almost futuristic look that you're going for, and I think it's taken a while, and that's cool because you're definitely in the right direction. Um, that's the visual part of it. As far as typography goes, I mean, you're budding and developing as as rapidly as I think any student in the class, and that's apparent. I think when I go back and look at some of the first couple of assignments, I think that where we've come is just enormous, and I just love to see that. So why don't you go ahead and take a look at that yourself, and you'll give yourself a nice big pat on the back as to how far you've come. So great job. All right, so masthead looks good. This area, this space right here is huge. I'm just a little weirded out by why that's so big, because just because it kind of separates these two words completely. What I would like to see is I think that this V right here is an issue, because I think that V needs to be pulled over closer to the E. So tightening that up is also going to allow you to tighten this up. Okay, and probably that. That way you can close this area up a little bit, move the up closer to level, then select the whole thing and make it just a touch bigger. At that point, I suggest adding a tagline to this: level up the future of gaming, or something like that, because it's a little bare up here without the issue and all that, which you've included down here. So all right, so as far as the rest of the alignment goes, well, let's talk about alignment here. Let me just pull out some rulers here, and I just want to pull out a ruler here on this particular, and then the other obvious place for me to pull a ruler would be at this end of that right there. So let's just go ahead and take a look and see. So that's in good alignment there, but this, I'm not real sure exactly why. Okay, sorry about that. So this, I'm just wondering, this should be, I'm thinking there's got to be some alignment right here. And I don't know right now if the way that this is set up, it's so scrunched up right in this area right here. And then you've got, this is very nicely placed and very nicely, the proximity is beautiful, and for the most part this is good. I think that the leading here could be closed down a little bit in each one of these. And this whole thing right here needs to come down to about here and align right here, and just start your text block here. That way you won't be obscuring what is going to be the visual focal point, and that's this area right here, kind of where the eyes of this model would be. Okay. Other than that, my only other issue here is that you've got absolutely no mixing typefaces here. You've gone all sans serif on the cover, and I think that's a mistake. I think you could really do some interesting things mixing some serif typefaces in here. The last thing I want to say is that these are set up identically. So is this, and this are set up identically. So basically, what you've done here is just, change some words and some highlight, some bold. So I would have liked to have seen more experimentation there and here as well, because that's basically the same setup as well. Let's go ahead and move over to the contents page, and that would be right here. Okay, the contents page has thrown me a little bit, because I know I'm asking you to not concentrate so much on on image, but here you've completely taken the image out, which is fine with me. If you were to take this over and create these typographic compositions that are going to say this is, what's different from this, from this than this. I mean, basically nothing is different. You've got this serif headline, then you've got a four space indent, and then you've got this serif subhead. And that's the same on every single one of them. And then you've got the big number over here. So So basically you've got one typographic composition, one headline composition, and one number that's just repeated over and over again. Okay, so I would have liked to have seen more experimentation there. Let's move over to the feature spread, which is right here, and I think this is done well. This is handled beautifully. I think this is by far your strongest page. You don't have any folios, so those should be both in both corners. If this page can't just end, or this story just ends there, it has to, you would either mark the ending with something or say continued on page. And then over in your rags look really good, so good job there. And I really think that there's a nice space between the paragraphs, so that's nicely done as well. The body copy typography I'm pretty good with. You have a couple of issues with orphans right here, that whole line. An orphan is well, orphans and widows are used kind of interchangeably anymore, but basically an orphan or a widow refers to something at the end, a word at the end of a paragraph that sits there alone, or a word at the end of a paragraph that sits alone at the top of a word or one line that sits at the top. Okay, so they shouldn't be dangling there alone. There's another orphan there. Whoops. There. Okay. Other than that, I think that one of the things that we learned is one of the magazine typographic techniques that we've learned is that this right here, I think, this center composition stuff right here is really throwing things off. Okay, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 typographic centered compositions in this area right here, and it just almost looks out of control. So what I would do here is I would just forget these and maybe add this pull quote down in the body copy somewhere. But pull quotes should be in the body copy, by the way. They shouldn't be above over there by themselves. And then what I would do is I would just say, here's your headline. Take her sight line over here and just maybe one line of text right there to introduce that whole page. And then the rest, you could take the rest of the, and work it into pull quotes. And a lot of this, I'm not even sure if it's really needed. Watch movies, traverse digital spaces, use the internet. I don't even know if that's necessary text. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so other than that, good job. I mean, I'm really pleased, and I think you should be too. Again, go back and take a look at some of the first things, and then compare them to this, and you'll be very impressed. I think it's kind of fun to look at, so try it. Okay, thank you very much. Great job. Thank you.